Hey everyone, it's Paul with the Bold Profits Daily for Tuesday. And today I am going to do something a little bit different because I have seen really some pretty astonishing, incredible things, which really just shows you that we are right now in an era of very rapid change, rapid innovation, rapid shift in the kinds of solutions and kinds of things that we're willing to consider. And of course, that means opportunity, that means chances to make big money because we are still very, very, very early in all of this. Now, before I get into this, I want to tell you about something that we are trying to do here. If you're a member of Bold Profits, make sure you're subscribed to our free e-letter so you get notification when this video goes up and when my colleague Amber and Ian also show up. So we are doing a push to try and see if we can get 1 million views, if I remember right, of an ad that my publisher has made. So a really pretty funny ad. You can actually see it on our YouTube channel. And we're also going to have a link just as a point of personal pride. Our team has made it their goal to try and get 1 million views of this ad within 1 week. And so if you can help us out, tell your friends, family, anybody that you know, help us get to our goal. We would deeply appreciate it. All right. Also, while I'm plugging things, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like the kinds of things that Amber, Ian, myself, we tend to put up. All right. So I'm just going to do this by showing you 3 stories that I found in this really interesting publication called Interesting Engineering. So the first one is about a New Zealand startup that is building the first long-range commercial wireless power transmitter, right? So think about Nikola Tesla and those Tesla coils and what they were trying to do. I don't know if many people remember. However, the idea of that was wireless transmission of electricity. And we are now to the point where there is an actual company that is actually trying to make this into a commercial, scalable, available service that you can actually get and use. And here's why this is important. Now, you know that we focus, and I focus a great deal on things like Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, blockchain, robotics. And the one thing that they all need is they all need a certain amount of electrical power to function. And today, that's either done primarily through using some form of a battery, or else it's connected through a wire to a power source. Or imagine if you could actually just beam down electricity to these things, and you can see in a picture here what's being talked about, which is that if you could beam down electricity to these devices, now you could have them operate in all kinds of independent places where there is no battery. And as long as there is a beam that can reach it, it can stay on. It can stay on all the time. And obviously, it would allow for a next level, a second level, a third level of innovation and ingenuity where we can start to make these devices start to do things, whether it be robots, whether it be passive devices that are simply recording or monitoring or transmitting information. And then when you combine it with 5G, now you really have a Lollapalooza effect, which is that obviously you've got the Internet of Things, robotics, you've got all of these things that can help you out. And then you bring in 5G, and then on top of that, you bring in wireless electricity. Now you got this incredible combination, and now you have innovation that really starts to jump, really starts to scale up. And the way to benefit right now, obviously, this is a private company that is starting this up in New Zealand. So there's no direct way at this moment to actually invest in a wireless electricity company. Nonetheless, what underpins wireless electricity? Well, in the end, it's still computer chips. You still need a lot of chips. It's also advancements in techniques in photonics. In other words, light and lasers are involved. And those are various things that you can invest in. And there's also various microelectronic components that would need to go into the device that transmits electricity, obviously ones that receives it, processes it, makes certain it's safe. So there are still opportunities to build a portfolio of companies that actually benefit from it. And in our services, we focus on these types of sort of innovation, breakthrough types of companies, if not directly, then in terms of building components, in terms of building the infrastructure and platforms, we can buy into those. So that's one of the things that I found that I felt like, well, this definitely represents a future direction that we are going to go into. All right, so a second story that I saw also from interesting engineering was this story about the Boring Company, which is Elon Musk's transportation logistics company getting approval to build and to expand their tunnels. And if you can see here, you can now see a picture of the tunnels that are set up to be built. It's going to follow the Las Vegas Strip, and theoretically over time it would begin at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas and travel the Strip. And now you've got essentially an alternative roadway system that is developing underground. And right now it's obviously starting very, very small. However, you will see in that diagram either someone's being very hopeful, or else there is the actual idea that eventually this will connect itself to Los Angeles. And what is being built here is essentially a new road network, a new railway network, a new transportation network that is built completely underground. And once again, we have a new idea of taking something that already exists. With the previous one, it's electricity. We're simply changing the form. But by changing the form of it, we can have so many new innovations simply stack on top of it. That Lollapalooza effect again. So with the Boring Company and having tunnels, well, there's so many benefits that can happen as a result of really moving our transportation infrastructure underground. Obviously, we would no longer need to put roads up, which we have a lot of roads, and obviously roads are pretty useful for our cars. Nonetheless, we have to wipe out trees and all these things that are there. Underground tunnels are safer in earthquakes because, as Elon Musk tells people, if you're at sea, it's rockiest on top. It's actually much calmer underneath, and that is true for the Earth as well. And once again, being that this is very early on, we have no idea in terms of what will entrepreneurs, what will people find ways to do with these underground tunnels. No one could have imagined that the network of highways would eventually lead to all the current developments that are there, whether it be big box stores that are situated in right the place, or rest stops, or any number of other ideas that people came to build around the idea of networks of roads. So this now is a huge development in the area of transportation. And when you look at transportation today, for the most part, our transportation infrastructure is somewhere between 50 to 100 years old. Railways have been around a long time. And I believe that something like the Boring Company, and then also another idea that Elon Musk has talked about, the Hyperloop, these are all things that are setting up to completely disrupt our transportation, logistics, infrastructure. And there are, once again, opportunities in terms of when you look at the existing companies that are out there, who is going to do the work for all of these tunnels to be built? If this is going to become a larger development, meaning that if other cities see that Las Vegas is benefiting from lack of traffic, not having to put up roads everywhere, a lot less disruption to existing life, while still being able to facilitate new, better transportation, well, Los Angeles will want it, New York will want it, Chicago will want it, Dubai will want it, London will want it. And the industrial economy represented by the existing industrial companies, are the ones that are going to help facilitate and build it, take the same innovation, and then take it everywhere else. So those portfolios, those companies would benefit from this, from all of this building that would happen. And then the third story that once again shows me, at least, that change is happening and happening very fast. So here's a story about a Japanese company that is going to use robots to build a very, very large dam. So just going by this story here, this is not some small little dam. This is going to be a 275.9 feet high, 84 meters, 1,095.8 feet wide upon completion. So this is a big dam, and they are going to layer the concrete from computers that are quite far away, operate cranes, and pour the concrete. And the idea is to ultimately save on resources, obviously better safety, more efficiency. And this is being done by the Obayashi Corp. And they have stated that at current, using these techniques increases their productivity by 10%. And they believe that eventually it would come to something like 30%. And in Japan, they have a significant labor shortage, so it's important for them to find new ways to actually do things like this. So once again, we have a huge development happening where construction techniques, building of very large, whether it be dams or buildings, can now start to really be advanced using robotics. And this is something, once again, that has been in place. We've always had robots. However, their capability has always been a little bit constrained in some ways. And so here we have it, where you are going to see new techniques happen in the construction industry, which is a large industry around the world. And you can benefit from this by owning, obviously, the companies that are going to use techniques, and they're using robotics. 3D printing is another technique that is also going to be used. And once again, you can benefit from that by owning the semiconductors ETX, because ETF, which owns a lot of chip companies. You can obviously own various builders that are going to use these various techniques. The industrial economy will also benefit, and also be people that, that have these projects and will benefit them. And so bottom line is that the world is really starting to change in a rapid way towards more innovation, faster. Thankfully, we have a lot of incredible solutions that we can actually bring to bear to solve problems better, more efficiently. And these three stories just give you an example. And just to wrap all of this together, one of the easy ways to do this is to buy into my STIX ETF sort of basket. So that's the semiconductors ETF, which is SMH, TAN, which is the solar ETF. Then there's ITB, which is the Home Builders Index for the United States. Then as XBI, which is the Biotech Index. And last, XLI, which is the Industrials Index. And I know I didn't really touch on biotech. You could say that the transportation also affect energy. Nonetheless, if you want to get like a really good mix, if you buy these 5 ETFs, this will give you a really good taste of the future that is unfolding right now. Alternately, you can also subscribe to Profits Unlimited. This is my flagship service. Goes for about $49 a year for the very first year. If you're interested in seeing companies that really go at these kinds of opportunities, click on the strong hands above. That's going to take you to my America 2.0 presentation that gives you really a top-down view of where we are today, where we're going, and how to benefit. And I'll have another video for you next week. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.